Hey yo, what up? Going on? What's good? Realest one, slide accordingly. Mr. Slide accordingly. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, support a real one.
Did y'all know that this was Mental Health Awareness Month? You know, mental and emotional health issues. Does everyone go through that? I used to think that it was just a specific few of people that went through that. But at the end of the day, we're all human, right? So who hasn't had their experiences with it? Some people were able to shake it off. You know, it's something that would just come out of the blue, and all of a sudden their mind just goes into this space where it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way, but I was able to shake it off and I can get back to what I was doing. But for some people, it goes a little bit more deeper than that. It gets a little bit darker. For me, at one point in my life, oh, it was dark. It was dark. So basically, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, it's me, you know, just speaking my own experience. You know, a lot of people keep this type of thing to themselves because you know how the internet is today. People will take the worst about you, even if you put it out there yourself, and try to make it into content or use it against you. But I look at it like this: if it's something that you overcame and you stand on it, and it made you a better person, how can anybody tell you a damn thing about it? But that's just it. You never know what a person is going through. You never know. Just because a person is smiling and laughing, that doesn't mean anything. I'm saying everybody expresses themselves different. You can never judge a book by the cover. It's cliche, it's corny, and it's, you know, as long as that saying has been around, that's the fact of it. But you never actually know what a person. You could walk past somebody down the street, walk past somebody you ain't never met a day in your life. You know what I'm saying? They're full of life. You know what I'm saying? They're spreading positivity to everybody else. How's your day, sister? How's your day, brother? You get nothing but positive vibes from that person. But when that person go home at night, you don't know what that person got going on. You don't know what's the real in their life, man. You don't know what a person's story is. And only some of us, you know, will actually tell it, you know? People keep things to themselves, but for good reason, you know, because especially with black people, we don't tell too much of our personal business. Even with family and friends, we all be having shit going on with us, and we don't let the next person know. You know, they always say, check on your peeps, check on your peeps. You can try to all you want, but unless a person is willing to speak about what they really got going on, they don't want to feel embarrassed, they don't want to feel judged, they don't want to feel criticized. We gotta cut that out. We gotta cut that out. The fact that people even feel like if we come to them and tell them about something we had going on with us, we're thinking we're gonna get criticized out the gate about it. That's a shame. You understand? It's a shame. Because like I say, for some, when you talk emotional health issues, for some people, it's like it's a every once in a while thing. It comes and it goes, right? Maybe in the middle of the day, everything was fine. Boom, all of a sudden their mind just drifts off into a dark spot. But they're able to shake it off and get right back to what they were doing, you understand? For some people, it just goes a little bit deeper. For me, in my teenage years, it got dark. I have my down days. I stay to myself when I'm going through it. Yeah, you know, that's how most people deal with it. People don't feel like, you know, when you get in that zone, you don't want to talk to nobody. You don't want to, you know, everybody got their own way to deal with it. Some people feel like I'm going to stay to myself. I'm going to cope with it. I'm going to be all right. Ain't no need for me to, you understand? Because a lot of us is like, yo, I don't want no pity party. You know, that's not the point of it. I think around those certain ages, from that point up into your teenage years, it's like, that's when life, you know, you start to like look at life differently. Life can affect you differently. And ironically, like that's where the base of my story comes from, in my teenage years. I want to say I was 16, 17 years old. And where it started was, I remember I was going to school, and you know, kids, they don't think about their jokes and stuff like that, right? As kids, you know how they say kids can be cruel, but they don't really understand the jokes, the things that they're saying. It was kind of like that, because I'm like, I'm taking it serious. I'm like, are y'all playing with me? Or I think that just kind of like opened the door for it. It was my mother's call. Boom, she wanted me to get better in school, so she decided, you know what, I'm gonna make his ass sit back with grades so he'll get it right. because I want you to really get an education and not just slide through school. You know what I'm saying? She had the bet. She obviously was looking out for me, but as a kid, you don't look at it like that. You know, the embarrassment started to play a factor. You know, life goes on, right? To like my perspective of life was different. I can't put the words together to explain to you. I didn't know what hit me at one point. I just started to feel so down. I just started to feel so like out of whack mentally and emotionally. It's like I couldn't control myself. It's like this feeling that at the time I didn't know it was even called depression, because I had never dealt with anything like that before, right? Now, like I said, the school thing, that opened the doors. You know, it just became way more serious than that. And it ended up, it had nothing to do with that at all. You know, just growing pains in general as a teenager. I didn't want to be around nobody. I didn't, you know, like I didn't want to hang out with nobody. I just wanted to stay. It was like, it was visible. Anybody who was around me, it was like, yo, what's up with Realest, man? Like, what's going on with him? Didn't know what to say. I'm feeling away, but I don't even know how to break it down to you how I'm feeling. All I know is there's something off here. There's something that's just not right. I can't put the words on it, right? Because I know YouTube, they love to trip out over these sensitive subjects. So uncomfortable. Like the thought of not being on this earth was like deeper into my mind every day. I'm like, what's the point? There's not a day that went by where I didn't have that thought at least twice a day. At least, I'm not even gonna say twice, at least once a day. You know what I'm saying? Like that dark feeling that I couldn't explain, that I didn't even know as depression, it started to creep up on me. It's like, take a look at this. This shit's crazy. Like, I can't even explain to y'all what I'm dealing with right now. Speak to somebody. You need to speak to a counselor. You need to speak to a therapist. Something I would have never thought I would ever have to do in my life. And I feel like that might have been what saved me. I even remember the lady's name to this day. R3al. I remember that lady's name like nothing. To give it some thought at first, but I felt like, what could I lose from it? What could I lose from speaking to this lady? You know, I was nervous. I'm like, what am I gonna say to this lady, man? What am I gonna say? People don't speak on what they're going through, because when you ask somebody what's wrong, what made you do that, it's like, what do you say? I was feeling down one day and I started to do this, I started to do that, right? It sounds crazy when you just put it out there like that, right? Only somebody who's really willing to understand what you're talking about. You're careful about who you mention that type of shit around, man. So I started speaking to this lady, and she was a cool lady, you know. You know, she would tell me that she talked to all types of kids who go through, you know, similar issues and things like that. I had seen this lady for, I want to say, about a year. For about a year, I think it was. Remember, I always look back on it like, did me going to see this woman, did it really help me? Felt like it helped me kind of like look at things from a different perspective at that time. I feel like it was just a phase that I went through. I have never ever, right, after that, have ever felt that bad in my life. People never know what you're going through. I come off like a, you know, laid back, cool, calm, collected, happy person, like, you know, like happy-go-lucky, or however you say it, right? You would never really guess that type of thing. It was just I was in bad shape. There's really no explanation to it. It was just, once you get in that dark spot, it can take your mind to other places. Some people can bounce back from it a little bit better, but for some people, you get worse before you get any better, and some people don't come back from it at all, man. Like, God bless and R.I.P. anybody who has ever taken their life from this, or lost anybody from this, because it's not a joke. Sometimes all it could take to turn somebody's day around, maybe all it takes is a hello, how you doing? Maybe all it takes is a hug or a handshake, a simple conversation with a complete stranger. When you see somebody sitting by themselves on a bench at the bus stop, or, you know, in a mall somewhere, you see somebody just sitting there and they look like they're down, which we see all the time, you know what I mean? We see people who are just, it look like they're going through it, you know what I'm saying? You never know exactly what it is in their life that's going on that to just gives off that vibe. Okay, this person is going through something, and you don't want to be somebody say, "What's going on with you, man? How you doing? Let me talk to you for a minute." You don't want to give people business like that. But all I'm saying is, you never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes just extending an arm and letting somebody know, listen, you're not alone. I can visibly see there's something going on with you, without getting too specific, without you even getting to, you know, just understand you're not alone. And I feel like that's the most important thing to take away from this. We're all human. Some people's situations are worse than others, but at the end of the day, we all experience mental and emotional health issues, man. But people don't want to speak about these type of things, especially in the black community. You know, you realize how fucked up it really is with black folks, man. We keep these things to ourselves because we don't want to be ridiculed. We don't want people to talk about it, because there are people who will take your worst moments, take your worst experiences, and they will make fun of you. They will throw it in your face. There are people you can't tell this type of stuff to, because they'll make you feel worse than the experience felt. The fact that you told them that. You understand? I feel like it's something that black folks got to work on, because we be going through more than anybody in the world. Shit, when it come down to it. Things we deal with just going out into the general world, and then what we got going on in our individual life. Not to make excuses, not saying that no other ethnicity goes through anything. That's not what I'm saying. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand it. Right? If you don't understand it the way I'm kicking it, then you ain't gonna understand it. That's just what that, you understand? I didn't know that this was Mental Health Awareness Month. There's people thinking seeking help is wrong or something. It's like it's taboo, especially for us, bro. Especially for us. It's like it's, you know, it's like we scared of how we gonna look. It's finding the words, right? It's like, how do you put it? How do you get it off your chest? You know, you got to find the courage in getting the words together. Dude, listen, I better talk to somebody. How I can go from 0 to 1,000 so fast. You could be the happiest person in the world. No worries at all. But then that one wrong thought, maybe you seen something that came across the TV. Maybe you heard somebody use a specific word that could just trigger you. Cloud your mind. All of a sudden, your mind is just clouded with nothing but negativity. So for some of us, it's obvious, okay, yeah, I needed to speak to somebody. I come from different walks of life, come from different cities, states, miles apart. But we got this app right here, right? It's like a virtual watering hole where you meet people, see some of the same people that you already know. You know, we're all different in our own right, but at the end of the day, how different are we really? Because when we get off of here, you know, we tell people what we want people to know. The things that people don't know, you know, you just imagine. You understand? You don't know a person's real story until you sit down and talk to you. People would judge you out the gate. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know what made you the way you are. They don't know why you are the person you are today. Those situations can make you or break you. I feel like it definitely made me. Going through those situations and coming out of them to be able to speak about them, that is a blessing right there all by itself. It can take a lot of courage to get up here and put yourself out there like that, you know. But the way I look at it, everybody has dealt with it one way or another. For some people, it was, you know, maybe it was self-harm. For some people who are dealing with it even today and have been dealing with it for years. Does it make a difference if they say you're diagnosed or you're not diagnosed? Does that really make a difference? I'm not even deep into religion, but I'm still thanking, you know, God for letting the sun shine on my face when I wake up. Every second counting right now. That's a blessing right there. You know, that's why my happiness is not dependent on like materialistic things or things that make the average person happy. Don't make me happy. I'm appreciative of the fact that me waking up in the morning and I got 24 hours in the day, you know, to make out of that day what I want to make out of it. That right there is enough for me. Whatever I choose to do, just thank you for letting me waking up to be able to have that opportunity. That person spoke their truth. They spoke about a time where they wasn't so sure of how you know, or which way it was going to go. for speaking on a time when they felt like shit, you know. But everybody has their own way. Everybody has their own way of dealing with this stuff. Not trying to get on no psychology type tip or nothing like that. That's why I talk about energy all the time, Keith. You know, energy is so important about the words, man. It's like getting the words together. It's like, how do you say it to a person? It's like a person can feel so drowned, right? In those negative thoughts that they can't even function on their job right. They got kids, they can't even take care of the kids right. You know, you got a whole house to clean up, you got errands to run, you got things to do, but it affects you. The only thing scary about how deep it can take you is how quick it can come on. Even if the next person went through it worse than the last person, we all know that it's real. We got the one person who's always seemingly okay and out to help everybody else. You know, everybody thinks that person got it figured out and down pat. So nobody stops to think, okay, well, maybe they actually don't have it all figured out. Maybe they actually do need, you know, some of the energy they're putting into others to be returned to them. Maybe we should sit down and ask them, do they need something? Do they need an ear? Do they need a shoulder? Do they need somebody to talk to? Do they need something to be done for them? Life is wicked. And no, it's not an excuse to treat people like shit. People who feel like shit and they feel like they ain't shit, they feel like their life ain't shit or whatever, you know, most likely they're gonna what? Treat people like ain't shit, right? But there are people, even if it's complete strangers, you might not have ever thought, well, this person, they'll never sit here and listen to my problem, my sorrow. You know how people ask, how you doing, what's going on with you? There are some people in the world who are actually willing to sit there and listen to you. Staring at me. I couldn't figure out why she was staring at me, fam. But when I got closer, I'm looking straight ahead. I'm like, this lady weird. She's looking at me all crazy. I'm walking and she steps up to me and she says to me to the effect of, it's gonna be okay. God hears you, or, you know, she said some words like that. Never met this woman a day in my life. Never seen her a day in my life. I don't even think I seen her after that. It was real weird. And I started thinking, did I just come across an angel or something like that? You know, it might sound kind of crazy to some of y'all, but that's how crazy it was for me. I'm like, how did this lady know that I'm feeling down and out right now? How does she know that this is one of my down times right there? I never had that happen to me in my life that I can remember. Life is a trip, man. Life is a trip. Mental health awareness month. You never know who's listening. You don't know how much you might actually have in common with a person until you actually sit down and have a conversation with them. Don't judge them. You understand? Don't think you know this person. You know, understand them, figure out what this story is before you just figure you know this person. Mental health awareness month. This was a live dedicated to that.